what's her name? Her son played football, played Ian.
All right, so I'm running this again. I want you to tell again. Sidney Ishman, Sid,
Little Sid, they call him.
little Sid, and you give him some coins, and he'd tap dance for you.
Tap dance, yeah.
All around the square up there.
It always ended like this.
Yeah. What gets me is there's people that'll hear this story, and they'll not want it repeated and won't want it told, and they'll say that's stereotyping and all that stuff, and they're exactly right. It was, but to ignore it and to push it away and try to hide it
It was
is a disservice to. That's the way he made a living,
Yes.
and to wipe out his history is just the ultimate disrespect to him,
Yeah.
because he wouldn't have been doing it if he didn't want to do it.
He wasn't crazy.
He wasn't crazy. He was just a happy-go-lucky guy that made a little money dancing for folks.
Right.
And some folks probably did it for the wrong reasons,
Well,
but it made him a living.
yes, I don't know. I don't know. The bad people today, too many left wingers, judge today about today's standards.
Right.
They look back at
They want to use today's standards to measure yesterday's happenings.
Okay, one thing that proves my point, I think, Mother and Daddy, the last thing they'd let you do is be prejudiced
Right.
against the blacks and stuff. You weren't allowed to call them niggers.
Yeah.
We weren't. People did, but
Yeah.
we weren't. You had to say that they were colored
Mm-hmm.
back then. That was the respectful way they were colored, and but that's just, I don't even know how to explain it. They were, today's standards, you couldn't do like you did back then.
That's something that history is not. History can't tolerate. The world progresses and moves forward, but to try to assign today's standards to yesteryear's happenings is one. I think it's incredibly disrespectful to those that lived through it. And there were some horrible things that were done, but there were some people that lived some pretty good lives as a result of some of that stuff. But I mean, I can remember Joe and Granny both talking about picking cotton.
Oh, yeah.
And so it wasn't just blacks that picked cotton.
No, Collin County was full of everybody.
Well, I remember-
I guess almost everybody that was raised in Collin County.
What people won't realize is
What?
Everybody picked cotton, didn't
Oh, amazing, yeah, sometime in their life.
they? Yeah.
what people don't realize. You know Bill Smith's Cafe. There was a time when it was in the middle of a cotton field or on the edge of a cotton field. I remember going to it, and it was surrounded by a cotton
Well,
field.
we thought it was too far out in the country
Right.
to make a living.
Well, that's where, yeah, there's a lot of people that thought about that
But when we were seniors, we would pile in the car and drive out there.
and drive out in the country to go to Bill Smith's.
For lunch and eat a hamburger.
Well, there's people that have been in Bill Smith's don't have a clue that it was ever so far out of town you didn't want to drive out there.
You're right, and there's a cotton patch over there.
But I said the same.
He had all that cotton there.
He employed most of Collin
Right,
County.
and east, southeast McKinney, and there's cotton
Well,
fields
Grady
over
was
here.
on just further than that.
Yeah, they moved it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we used to go down there and just get in a wagon, we'd ride it out the way, and take your sack and fill it up there and let them weigh it again. You get paid twice for it.
I said the same thing about, Texas Harley Davidson that I worked for Don Smith. The first time I ever saw that building, it was a Honda store out on, and before 187 was ever paid.
Yeah.
And we used to drive out to West Texas and we'd go by it. And the first thought was, who is the fool that put this Honda store way out here in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it now, one, it's grown up around it so much they can't expand that building.
Yeah.
And the last time when I worked there back in the 94-ish era, There were 190,000 cars a day went by that thing. But I remember when the road that went in front of it was 2 lanes of blacktop, no shoulder, no nothing.